Hello, Union family. Thanks for tuning into installment 4 of my Union Updates. This is for the week of May 4th, 2020, and I'm Jana Blunt, your SEIU 10-1 Sonoma County Chapter President. Our agenda for this week will include the extension on our shelter-in-place order for this county, potential second wave of COVID-19, Fairgrounds employees, and then last week's and this upcoming week's union work. So hopefully you saw the email that went out to us on last Friday, came from Cheryl Bratton. She's our CAO, just to let us know that this new order takes effect Monday the 4th. And it's essentially reducing restrictions for industries in which it's not difficult to maintain social distancing. The facial covering requirements and the physical distancing, those aspects of the order remain the same. So county departments will continue managing essential functions as before. This new order has no specific end date. The county response and modifications will continue to match the state's isolation order. And Dr. Mays, our health officer, will be working with the Economic Development Board to guide safe reopening of our local businesses. Now, all of this is being done to prevent a second wave of infection. As most of you know, human history is littered with identical stories of pandemics doing the most damage after the public lowers their shields. That's why it's important for those employees who are able to remain relatively isolated, including those of us who telework, are allowed to continue to do so. From what we understand so far, most department heads are game, but we have gotten reports of specific department heads who are far more enthusiastic than their peers at getting all of their employees back under one roof. They need to chill out. And if that's not enough reason to rethink our old status quo, we know that we're looking down the barrel of a major parking concern at the county campus. It's gotten HR management to rethink all of their future plans, including getting all of the departments under one roof in a large new building. Because of the fact that so many of us don't even physically have to be at our original work sites in order to do our jobs, and so many of us are able to serve the public in the same respect we did before, county management, silver lining, they know that we have far more options than we thought. We might need far less room, and we might need to occupy far less space than we do now. So that'll be interesting to learn about as they make decisions. So you've probably already heard that Sonoma County Fair for 2020 has been canceled. The county has had no plans for layoffs, like I mentioned in our last video, but if and when layoffs do occur, those are decided at the department level. Each department has different needs, each department's staffing and budgets are different, and something like this, with our Fairgrounds employees, that's a specific department that is relying, unfortunately, on that fair specifically to fund their employees' salaries. We have about 15 employees in our bargaining unit who work at the Fairgrounds, and their salaries are entirely dependent upon the Sonoma County Fair. So it needs to be clear that we should be expecting the plan for layoffs. SEIU, in turn, has already put out a request for information on the typical budget that the Sonoma County Fair expects, what they're expecting to lose due to this cancellation, and then all possible information when it comes to the board at the Fairgrounds and their plans at this time. When it comes to the budget countywide, we're passing our standard, typical run-of-the-mill budget in June, but come September, we're going to be undergoing more stringent budget hearings. And so when it comes to the Fairgrounds and all other departments, the big decisions are probably going to be made between June and September, so we need to stay tuned. Our last meeting with HR was last Thursday the 30th. We meet again with them this Thursday the 7th, and then we have 2 more scheduled meetings the following Thursdays, the 14th and 21st of May. So, as explained before, the type of conversations that we have with management and our obligations during each of these types of conversations is based in national and state labor laws. It's based in civil service rules, and it's based in our own MOU. Right now, we're still in what's called the meet and discuss mode. It's an informal exchange of information and intentions. Because of the situation that we've been in, the county has the right to maintain this status until things calm down. But management has admitted that we're reaching the end of what would be considered a reasonable delay. And now they do have the responsibility to name the meeting in which we're officially in meet and confer status. Meet and confer status requires a formal level of bargaining in what they call good faith. And that means that both sides must cooperate with a shared goal of resolution in mind. Anyone who does anything to prevent this from happening is considered bargaining in bad faith. And it's what resulted in our 2015 strike. We filed an unfair labor practice back then because county management at the time would not bring anyone to the table who actually had the authority to say yes or no to our proposals. And so we certainly don't expect that to happen this time around, but that's why things go to that level. It's when people go outside of the good faith bargaining requirements. County management has received our proposal to pay a 25% premium for essential employees who are required to have direct contact with the public. That includes, but it's not limited to, those in Human Services, the Department of Health, ISD, Transportation and Public Works, and of course, all employees who are assigned to work in the Emergency Operations Center, or EOC, as well as a 10% premium for those of us who are essential employees and have to physically report to work but have no direct contact with the public. 279 of us are within 60 hours of reaching our maximum permitted vacation accrual. Non-supervisors have up to 280 hours, supervisors cap at 360. And once the cap is reached, we no longer accrue paid vacation hours. 2 employees in our bargaining unit who have met their cap have been denied vacation time due to our current emergency. It's unacceptable to forbid employees from continuing to accrue vacation time when we're making every attempt to prevent losing the time. County management is aware that we're not backing down on this, and we will be filing a grievance for all affected employees in this bargaining unit for everyone who's at their accrual caps and are not provided the option to take vacation time. We also spoke with the HR about the future status quo. We want them to be able to explain to us what they and each of the departments are looking at when it comes to when everyone returns. We want to know what the temporary changes will be, the permanent changes, and that includes things like, will every customer lobby contain some sort of transparent physical barrier from the public? Several departments have already installed plexiglass barriers that are movable. And so we're making sure that they contact all of the department management to report back and let us know if there are any departments who have customer lobbies and don't plan on doing so. That also includes what will be required of the public who enter. Will they need to wear facial coverings? Will they need to sanitize their hands? Will they need to wear gloves? Will none of that be required? And then of course, we asked them whether or not employees were going to be tested for COVID-19. Now we do have an answer to that. There's no plans at this time for the county to test us, and that's because it's our healthcare providers who do these type of testing. One thing that the county is doing is at the 24-hour facilities, places like the jail and the crisis stabilization unit, any employees who enter to start their shift, their temperature is checked with a forehead thermometer before they start. And if for any reason they have a fever, they're not allowed in. But that's as far as it's going to go. As far as everyone knows, again, if an employee needs to be tested for COVID-19, they will do so through their own healthcare provider. So we just wanted to let you know and remind you of the different ways that people are getting their updates and your different options. So of course there are the official 10-to-1 email blasts. See, these are things that are larger news items that everyone needs to know. There's always a slight delay before the release because it has to go through several channels before it's done, and union management approves these, so they are official. There's also our Stand Up Sonoma County Facebook page. Depends when posts are approved and when things are going on, it depends on the availability of the admins and the moderators. There's a variable delay. Some things are instantaneous, other things, it just depends. Of course, this is just a Facebook page. It's not run by SEIU. It's just the chapter leaders who are in charge of keeping it updated. This is something I really wanted you to know about, that there's going to be real-time email and text updates that come directly from me. These are going to be the quickest release items. They're going to be unofficial. They're not sent from SEIU. They're sent from me, Jana, the chapter president, who is an employee of the county. And we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to make sure that I have your personal email address, and if you'd like, your cell phone number. I won't be making any phone calls to anyone, but for emergency texts, if you want to receive them, if you go to that shortened URL down at the bottom, it's also going to be available in the description section in the YouTube video, as well as the comments on Facebook and anywhere else this is posted. Clicking on that URL or entering in that URL will bring you to a basic survey that allows you to put in the contact information that you prefer that I'd have. So I can go ahead and send you those unofficial quick emails and very infrequently texts. Again, those would be for things like emergencies that you would need to know. So that's your third option. And always we'll want to make sure that you're aware that there are resources and information available to you. That shortened URL there will also be in the description section. That is our shared Google Drive. There's a lot of different documents in that'll help you out. Our MOU is there, contact information, and of course everything you see on the screen. And lastly, if you haven't already, please go to SoCo.unitedincrisis.org and sign your name. We're involved in getting this together. It's essentially assuring that each of us in the county, especially those of us who are in dire need, are not going to emerge from this pandemic with anything taken from us. Housing, safety, making sure everyone's basic needs are met, and of course, without accumulating crippling debt. So that's everything for this week. I'm going to be creating the This Week in Labor History video as a separate video, so you can save some time. Please check it out. It's actually a very good one. Otherwise, you know how to get a hold of me, and I will talk to you in a week. Have a great one.